It's Karen Weingard, and I'm coming to you from Club Scrap today, and I'm going to be teaching you one of my favorite projects. One of my favorite things to do besides scrapbooking, I like to use my products for bookmaking, and we're going to be making a handmade stitch-bound journal today. For those of you who don't know, I am the Food for Craft coordinator for the Food for Craft program. It's our direct sales division, and if you have any questions about that, I would love to talk to you, so why don't you give me a call at headquarters. The project we're going to do today is the Stitch Bound Journal, and you'll be getting supplies from the GHM department, and your packet will actually come with the following supplies. You will get 2 cover papers that are 8.5 by 11. You will receive 10 inside pages that are also 8.5 by 11. 2 of the mat board covers that are pre-cut to the proper size for you, as well as 3 yards of wax linen thread. Those supplies will come in your project. Some other supplies that you'll want to have on hand for this project are your ruler, and this is our grid ruler from Club Scrap. This comes in 2 different sizes. It comes in 3 by 14 and also 2 by 18. Both are great for all your projects, and you can see it has this little grid design that makes measuring just a snap. You'll also want 3 tools, the foam brush, the bone folding tool, and a pair of scissors. If you need foam brushes or bone folding tools, we always carry those for you in the GHM department. You'll also want to have something to pierce your pages with. And what I like to use is just your standard corkboard from a craft store, and also a very expensive and very difficult to find tool. This is a push pin, and that'll work absolutely great for piercing through your pages. Okay, you'll also want our bookbinding glue. This is our Club Scrap bookbinding, laminating, and padding adhesive, and this is specially designed for bookbinding. So this is definitely something you're going to want to have on hand. You're not going to want to try any other adhesive. You're definitely going to want this, and this also is available in our GHM department. So the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to wrap our bookboard covers, and we will be doing that by using the wrong side face up of our 8.5 by 11 cover piece. And the next step you'll want to do is you're going to want to come in with your mat board cover, and you're going to be wanting to center this in the center of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Then we're going to take the tip of our bone folding tool, and you're just going to trace around the outside edges of the mat board piece. And what that'll leave, it's probably kind of hard to see on camera, but that'll actually leave a tracing of your cover piece. At this point, we're going to spread some glue on the cover paper, the cover mat board. So we'll just use our bookbinding glue, and you just want to squeeze a generous amount of the glue, not too much. For those of you who have taken our bookbinding classes before, you can start in the middle and then spread it all the way to the outside. You want it to be just enough to get full coverage, but you don't want it dripping off your paper, obviously. So nice full coverage, nice thin, even layer. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to center that back into the traced area that we made with our bone folding tool. Press firmly. And then I like to flip it over and just work out all those air bubbles. I use the long side of my bone folding tool, and I start from the center and just smooth all those air bubbles to the outside. That assures you have good contact with the mat board piece. At this point, we want to go ahead and wrap our edges. And what we want to do first is we want to snip off the 4 corners by mitering the 4 corners. And we're going to snip these off at a 45-degree angle, but it's really important so that we don't end up with gaps at the corner that you cut a 45-degree angle, but you do want to leave about 1/8 of an inch of cardstock away from your edge. If you're wondering what 1/8 of an inch is, you can look at your ruler, or it's actually approximately the width of the blades of your scissors. So if you stay that amount of distance away from your corners, you'll be really safe. If you're still not sure where or how much space to leave from the edge of your cardstock, if you're not sure about that 1/8 inch, you can actually take the edge of your ruler, which is 1/8 inch thick, and you can hold it perpendicular to the corner of your page. Just draw a little pencil mark, and that'll make sure that you leave the perfect amount of space here. And you can just cut right on the outside of that pencil mark, and that'll give you that perfect mitered edge. If you have a little excess, don't worry about that, because I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. Once you've got all 4 corners cut at a 45-degree angle, it's now time to wrap your cover flaps. So what I like to do is just pre-fold on each of those flaps, just to get that cardstock broken down a little bit so it'll be much easier to wrap. And I like to wrap the long sides first. So you're just going to add a little glue, and you're just going to spread that glue in a nice, thin, even layer. And again, you want full coverage. You want to get down into that crease. And then we're just going to fold and wrap and press it into place. You can use the long side of your bone folding tool again, just to smooth out any air bubbles and make sure that you have good contact with the mat board piece. Again, I want to do the opposing long side. You probably have enough glue left in your brush at this point. And then you'll hold that piece down, press it firmly into place. Again, working out any air bubbles until you've got your edges firm down. Now, when I was talking to you about cutting off the corners at a 45-degree angle, if you have a little excess at the corner, what I'm going to have you do is just take the very tip of your bone folding tool, and you're just going to come in and you're going to tuck that little corner down. It's just actually pressing into that corner. And we're just going to do that on all 4 corners. You can see I'm just pressing that down, and then I'll tuck it in real nice. Once you've got all 4 corners tucked, you'll go ahead and continue with the short side flaps. Again, just holding it down, pressing firmly, working out any of those air bubbles. And then just look at those corners. They come out perfect every time if you follow those steps. Now, what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I have done my second cover. So once you've wrapped both cover pieces, you're going to go ahead and set those aside, and we're going to move on to the next step. Let's take an inside page then, and we're going to actually fold these in half horizontally, and you can use the bone folding tool to make a nice tight crease. You're going to want to fold each of your 10 inside pages this way.